Hello and welcome back to my channel. This Halloween, my mother, my daughter, and I are going as the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus. So this is the first video, which is Mary's costume. For the blouse of Mary's costume, I used C&Sew's B6546 shirt pattern and I altered it. I did not make it as full as what the original pattern is around the waist, and I added sleeves to it as well. And then I also changed the neckline. Here I'm just creating my new pattern for Mary's shirt. For the neckline of the shirt, I changed it from a scoop neck to this kind of scalloped edge. And here I'm making the sleeve pattern. I just don't remember what pattern I got this piece from. I originally used this color of orange for the shirt because I could not find what I wanted. But later on in the video, you'll see the color change because I did eventually find what I wanted. But I used the same steps that I used for the orange one as making the new one. With any shirt, you sew the shoulder seams, the side seams, and since this is a large shirt, I don't have to put any closures on it. Since my mother will be Mary and she runs hot naturally, I did not want to fully line this shirt, so I created a neck facing and then serged all the edges. And here I'm just pinning the neck facing to the collar of the shirt, and then I will sew it on and then flip it right sides out. I do clip the corners and I do clip the seam allowance for the curves just so that it lays properly, and then give it a good press. One thing I did not film, since it was kind of a trial and error thing, you'll see later on in the video that I have a rope going across that neckline where the points are. I created a twisted rope out of embroidery thread that matches the shirt. I will leave the video that I learned how to do it on in the link below, so if you want to take a look at that, then that will be there. And then I just stitched that rope onto the back side of the shirt. And here I'm creating the faux cuff of the shirt. All I did was make my sleeve pattern, and then I just extended it, and then I folded it and ironed it down, and then stitched it down to make a fake cuff for the shirt. And then I just stitched it up and attached it to the armholes of the shirt. And here is the twisted rope that I have not sewn on yet. And now it's time to create the vest. For the vest, I used Simplicity pattern 8075. I did create a mock-up on it, and I tried it on my mother, and then I drew out the way I wanted the shape to be and recut it. The vest will be lined with the same material I used on the shirt, plus interfacing for the front 4 panels. And then I used this burgundy wine colored georgette mesh fabric that I had left over from a previous project that I doubled up on. Once everything is cut out, I did go ahead and serge all the edges of the vest and the interfacing together. And now it's time to put it together. This piece was a little weird and too pointy, so I did cut it down. And since I am using 2 layers of this burgundy wine fabric, I did go ahead and stitch them together because they are slippery. For the closure on the vest, I did go ahead and make loops out of this wine fabric as well, so I can attach them to the front of the vest. It will have a lace up front. And all I did was take a strip of the wine fabric, I folded it the edges in, and then I folded it in half again and stitched it down. And since the lining material and the burgundy fabric vests are done, I did go ahead and stitch those together right side to right side. And now I'm going to be putting in the loops for the lacings. And once those are attached, I went ahead and flipped it right side out, and now I'm getting ready to top stitch it. With the hem, I did go ahead and stitch it down together, and then I did serge the edges to make it all nice and even, and then I folded it up and did a rolled hem on it. I also did top stitch every seam line on the vest as well. And to finish off the armholes, I did basically the same thing I did with the hem, is I serged the lining and the burgundy fabric together, and then I rolled the hem inside. And for the rings at the bottom of the vest, I found these wooden rings, 2 per package at Hobby Lobby. I bought 4 packages. And since her rings are not smooth, I went ahead and took my Dremel and I just randomly did holes and nicks and just to mark up all the rings. And if you do this, please use safety glasses. I couldn't find mine and decided not to wear it. Always use safety equipment. Once those are all marked up, I took black paint. I gave it a good coat of black paint, and then once that was dry, I dry brushed it with gold paint. And to attach the rings to the vest, I use ribbon and sew-on snaps. I sewed the ribbon onto the inside of the vest. I sewed a sew-on snap to the loose end, put the ring in, snapped it up, and it holds it fine. I made them so I could take the rings off so I could wash the costume. For the skirt, I used Butterick pattern 4653. It's a gypsy costume. I used the skirt pattern only, and I did alter it. I did not make all the panels that it required. I did this because I did not have enough material to do that. So instead of using an elastic waistband like the pattern calls for, I used a waistband with some sew-on snaps. This burgundy fabric is the base skirt, and I cut 2 panels out of this. And I also used this burgundy fabric to cut the waistband out. This checkered material, I did cut 2 panels out. However, later on I did cut one of the panels off, so I did not use it. I also did shorten this one as well. And this fabric is actually a weave kind of fabric. It's kind of cool looking. I used this to create the pockets. This multicolored fabric is actually the top layer or the apron of the outfit. I left it as a rectangle. For the pockets, I cut 2 12 by 12 squares, and I folded in the edges and pinned them onto the top layer of the skirt. Once the skirt pieces are all cut out, I go ahead and I do stitch up the checkered material and the burgundy material, the 2 panels together. For the waistband, I did cut out a 6-inch rectangle, and I did line it with interfacing. And then I folded it in half, and then I folded in the edges to create a waistband. Before I sewed any of the skirts together, I did go ahead and sew the pockets on the top layer. I figured it would make it easier. Once the checkered panels are sewn together and the burgundy panels are sewn together, I did go ahead and put them on the waistband. The top layer skirt, I did go ahead and gather it first since it's supposed to be like an apron, and then put that on top. And once those three skirts are sewn together at the top, I go ahead and sandwich them in between the waistband. And then I go ahead and sew up the back. I do not sew the back seam all the way up. I leave about an 8-inch gap because the waistband will overlap, therefore it will hide the opening. And I stitched on sew-on snaps for the closure. I did not push record on my video camera, but I did jag up the skirts to make them look more worn. Now on to the hair piece. I did take the styrofoam cone and add a little wire to the tip of it so I can basically get the tip of the hair to in the position I want once it's on the head. And I added hair with hot glue and spray on glue to this cone. This is just a hairpiece. My mother's hair is actually the right color, so I will blend my mom's hair into this hairpiece. And for the hair wefts, I just tore up an old wig I had that I wasn't using. And for the lacings, I did use jute cord for the lacings on the vest. And here is the dress. I could not get pictures of the dress on my mother because she is out of town at the moment. I do have to say, after creating all three of the costumes, Mary's was the most difficult. Stay tuned because Sarah's and Winnie's are next. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you next week.